Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of our video newsletter. In this video I want to talk to you about the mechanics of the Baker Act and sort of how this whole thing works and the timeline. So there are three ways that a Baker Act gets initiated. Somebody goes to court and files the case. A qualified professional like an emergency room doctor can initiate a case, or a police officer, a law enforcement officer can initiate a case. So typically what happens is that the case gets initiated one of three ways. Most of the time, these cases are being initiated by law enforcement officers who are called to the scene and they make a determination if somebody meets criteria, and then they either take them to an emergency room at a hospital or they take them to a Baker Act facility. But there are times where somebody will show up voluntarily at a hospital or at a facility seeking help, and the facility then decides to keep them. Okay, so the case gets initiated that way. Now, if you're an adult, there is a 72-hour window in which they can make a determination as to whether or not you meet criteria, continue to meet criteria, and they have 72 hours to assess you. Okay, if they decide during those 72 hours that you don't meet criteria, they're supposed to release you. If you're a minor, okay, and we get a lot of calls from mums and dads whose children are being Baker Acted, they typically end up getting Baker Acted, not all the time, but most of the time, because either somebody has seen something they posted online, or perhaps a school counselor heard about it and they got Baker Acted that way. But if you're a minor, that assessment period is supposed to take place within 12 hours. Now, if you've reviewed any of my other videos, you'll know that the 12-hour period and the 72-hour period gets violated all the time. And because nobody's watching them, okay? There's no oversight here. So whatever happens, that assessment period comes along. Now, if the facility decides they want to keep you, they're going to file a petition for involuntary placement. And what they're basically asking for, they're saying to a judge, would you please allow the state to give us permission to keep them? In other words, the state becomes the parent, right? They take care, custody, and control of the person, and in theory, the person can be held for a period of up to 6 months. And if you think it can't happen, I'm telling you, it can, and it does. I've had a call from somebody who was stuck in a mental health facility somewhere in the middle of Florida, and they'd been ordered there by a judge for 6 months. And they said, can you get me out? And my answer was, probably not. It's too late, which is why I've talked about the whole concept of moving as fast as possible, the race to the courthouse, and all those other things I talk about in my other videos. So there's an assessment period. They are then, have made the decision to keep you, and then there's going to be a hearing, okay? And that hearing is going to be almost like a criminal case. There's going to be a prosecutor there. There's going to be a judge there. And there's going to be a public defender there. Okay? The only difference is this hearing is going to be done in private, in secrecy. And unless you are either a lawyer who's involved in the case because you've been hired to perhaps defend this person like we get on a frequent basis, or you're the actual person who's being Baker Acted, guess what? You're not invited to that party. If you're the parent, the spouse, the significant other, guess what? You probably won't even know when that hearing takes place. You certainly won't be invited to it, okay, or to participate in it, or be allowed to sit in and watch it, okay? So that's sort of mechanically how this thing all works, okay? It gets initiated by one of a number of different ways. There's an assessment period. They decide to keep you. There's a petition filed, and then there's a hearing. And if they find that you meet criteria, if a judge makes that decision, then you're probably either going to be ordered to stay in the facility you are, or worse, shipped off to a state mental health facility. So that's the mechanics of the Baker Act. And this is why I say you got to act as fast as possible. It's a race to the courthouse, and the one who gets there first is probably going to win. With that said, I never charge for a consult. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to chat with you. Stay safe and be well.